Hello and welcome to this week's episode of SBC Podcast. We have with us today Mike Neal, Founding Partner at MVP Results, a Predictive Index Certified Partner. And then Mike, of course, will tell us a little bit more about that at some point here. Mike has built several companies into multi-million-dollar enterprises, including a niche product that was listed on the London Stock Exchange, among many other great accomplishments. Today, however, Mike will talk to us about how he has been utilizing the Predictive Index since 2011 to help organizations develop leadership, manage change in their companies and industry. The long bio will be online. It's a lot of accomplishments, so I can't read all of them today. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, awesome. Great to have you here. So can you tell us and tell the audience a little bit about Predictive Index, what it means?
Yeah, sure. The Predictive Index is a suite of assessment tools. The company's been around over 60 years, and it's really working on the assumption that the most important part of any business are our people. Don't really care whether you run a restaurant or you have an accounting business,
right?
Or
especially the right people.
It is about the right people, and we know as humans we're not very good at picking the right people. Virtually every company out there has made a bad hire at some stage. So the Predictive Index helps people and helps companies understand their people.
Right.
And if you say the most important asset of your business is your people, and then there's a tool that helps you understand them better, why wouldn't you want to look at that? And that's really how I got introduced to it. Right. Like most people, I'd done a really bad job of hiring. I'd met this guy.
Me and you both.
Well, yeah,
we've all made those hiring mistakes, and we know how much they cost, right?
I did well, and that's the problem. Is most of the research out there now is showing that the cost of a bad hire can be 100 to 200 to 300%
right.
of someone's annual salary.
Right.
And I think for small businesses, it's even more critical. I think
it can kill a business, I mean.
Well, sure, but think about it. If IBM make a bad hire, okay, it's one bad hire.
Right.
If you're a 5-person business and you bring in, as I did once, an office manager who was toxic, it really hurts us.
Right, it can take you out of business. I mean, yeah. There have been instances where it has.
Yeah, definitely. So that's how we got introduced to Predictive Index. And I now work with companies throughout North America, but really based in the Tampa Bay area, of all sizes, who just realise that if there's a way we can use science to put the right people in the right job and then know how to manage them, that makes a huge, huge impact to your business.
Yeah.
And that's really what the Predictive Index does.
Right.
It uses, established science to help us understand those strange things in our business, i.e. our employees.
Yeah, supplement that gut feeling, because you got the gut feeling, you got all these different things. And then as what hit me the other day is that, like, being in the background check industry, we look into people's histories, and then you guys look into their futures.
I love that line.
Yeah, me too. I came up with it.
Yeah, copyright it quick. Yeah. No, it is we know that by using science, we can actually predict how someone will behave and perform at work. But then more importantly, we match it up to jobs. Why would you ever hire someone to be a bookkeeper if they didn't like details, if they didn't enjoy doing figures?
Yeah. Because it's not going to work in the long term. They're just going to be like banging their head against the wall all the time. And then when you don't like something, you tend to kind of, get away from it, not want to do it and avoid it and, push it back. But go ahead. Yeah,
so we often talk to our clients about trying to fit round pegs into square holes.
Right. I love that analogy, yeah.
Because we see it all the time. But so a big part of what we do is, number one, let's work out what shape the hole is. Because unless we've worked out what the job requires, how do we know what to hire?
Right.
So that's a lot of the work that I do with companies, is helping them analyse, hey, what have we got here? We're sitting in the building where there's a big credit union downstairs.
Right.
And I worked with them recently on they needed to work out what kinds of people are going to work well in our credit union.
Yeah.
The different roles we have.
Right.
And once we've established what the shape of the hole is,
yeah,
then if it's a square hole, let's get some square pegs to go in there instead of getting a round peg and trying to beat it over the head.
No, that is awesome, because I mean, if you don't know what you're looking for, how are you going to find it?
Exactly.
So Mike, can you? I love that idea, because I know that it's really a big pain point for most employers. Is how do you even start to figure out? Okay, how do I begin to start forming a cohesive idea of who makes the right people for our type of kind of industry or company.
Yeah, sure, and that's a big part of what we do. We have some various tools within our toolbox that are available to all of our clients, and one of them really is a job targeting tool.
Right.
It helps us understand what does it take to be successful in this role, and we have a sort of quite a good process on that. In that we'll sit and talk to business owners and get their feedback.
Right.
What do you think that looks good? But then very often as well, we'll look at, hey, do you have any top performers?
Right.
And think about it within your organisation. You've got those people who are your superstars.
Right.
Well, if we could replicate those, what would that mean to you?
Right.
And then we back it up. Say we've been around over 60 years. We've got over 500 validity studies on what it takes to be successful in a role. And I had the conversation yesterday with a trucking company.
Yeah.
And we actually did research. We looked at 17,000 truck drivers.
Yeah.
And their safety records. Mm-hmm. And there is a profile for what makes a safe truck driver. Mm-hmm. Well, imagine if you as a trucking company, every applicant, you can already see, hey, will this guy be safe or not?
Right.
What does that do to your business? What does that do to insurance rates?
Right. It eliminates a lot of mistakes. It eliminates a lot of go back and forth. And yeah.
So for virtually every company, we can set a target for, hey, this is what it would take to be a successful, whether it's sales guy, truck driver, nurse, astronaut, whatever role you want to hire.
Yeah.
We can help you set a target. And then it's really a question of applicants or even current employees matching them up against it. So it is, let's put the right people in the right jobs.
Yes, yeah. Putting the right people in the right seats. And I know from conversations you and I had before, these tools can be leveraged not just in the early selection process, but also my understanding is in the development, the training, and possibly retention as well.
Sure, and in fact, I spend a lot of time talking to chief human resource officers for companies of all sizes, and the phrase I keep hearing all the time is war on talent. There's a war on talent.
There is one going on right now.
Well, particularly here in Florida. Yeah. There are so many industries where they can't get enough good workers.
Right.
And there was research came out the other day that showed we're now, there's 0.86 people available for each job vacancy. There's less than one person around.
Wow.
So we're spending a lot of time working with companies on, hey, instead of desperately looking for new hires, wouldn't it be a good idea if you held on to existing people?
Yeah, that's true.
So, we use this science to really, really help companies hold on to their people. Because think about it, if you know what makes your people tick, if you know what motivates them,
right,
how much better is it that you can keep them engaged, keep them productive? And all the research shows that the number one factor on why people quit their jobs or how engaged they are is their immediate boss.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So companies use this science and this data to really help their managers be better managers.
Right.
That understanding that you can't treat all your people all the same because they're not all the same.
Right.
Some people love the big, to be brought out in front of the whole crowd and go, hey, here's our employee of the month.
For some people, it's torture.
Yeah, exactly. And other people are very private.
Yeah.
But if you don't know that as a manager, how are you meant to know how to motivate that employee?
Right.
So we amongst our suite of tools, we have manager guides, and it really is a checklist on how do I manage each of my team members. This person loves lots of detail. You really want to be given a detailed plan on, hey, this is what we're going to do moving forward. Where this guy over here is a big picture guy.
Yeah.
And I know I'm like that. If you give me a detailed plan, I'm never going to read
it. Yeah, it's definitely not one size fits all, and I'm very big, personally on self-awareness. And then just knowing your blind spots and knowing what things. And then also the experience tells me that anytime I've tried to kind of do things that are not within my strongest suit, they're probably going to end up being overlooked, or they're going to be pushed aside, or they're just going to find different excuses and ways not to do them. However, but there's someone who loves them that I can just...
And that's it. Once again, the research shows that self-awareness is the number one competency we can help managers develop. And it is understanding those blind spots that you have.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know mine. I'm naturally very impatient, but I have to appreciate that not everyone on my team works at the same pace as I do, which is fine. I'm not that great on details either, so I make sure I have people in my team who are very detail orientated. They pick up the pieces of the stuff that I've forgotten about.
Right.
And I think for businesses of all sizes, but particularly small businesses, it is understanding your own strengths and weaknesses. Let me go out and do the things I'm good at and that I enjoy. And then have other people within my team who can do the stuff.
Because you can't do everything yourself. You need a team, and you need all positions. And I always like to draw from sports as well. That equates to that. I mean, not everybody can be a defender. Not everybody can be an offensive person. And it's but once you have the right person in every position, then everybody's firing on all cylinders, and then you have a winning team.
That's the theory, anyway. Yeah, no, and that's what we know that companies do successfully. We all have things that we're good at, and if we can put those people into those roles, that they naturally get to do the things they enjoy doing and that they're good at. Yeah, everyone wins. It's a win-win for the company and the employees.
Yeah, I agree. And Mike, what are some of the things that like these assessments like measure for? Because I mean, you know how some of the others measure about. Who's an introvert, extrovert. And there's all these different ways to slice and dice this. What are the frameworks that kind of predictive index kind of
really great question. Because the assessment industry has exploded over the last few years.
Yes, it has. There are a lot of Me Too products.
There is. And there's also a lot of assessments that are only designed for one part of the employee life cycle.
True.
Lots of assessments are just designed for team building.
Yeah.
The predictive index is one of the very few assessment tools out there that you can use from hire to retire.
Nice. I like that.
Well, and we know because you could actually use our tool for selection. A lot of them, in fact, the vast majority of assessment tools out there, they say somewhere deep in their website that you shouldn't use it for for selection.
Right, because they have to comply with EEOC rules and regulations. They can be perceived as discriminatory.
Very much so. So we have a huge wealth of data that shows that our assessments don't discriminate against any of the protected classes. Mm. So our assessments measure those drives that we know everyone's born with. And those drives really break down into four very, very basic things. The amount of dominance someone has. Right. Do they like to be a team leader, or would they rather be part of a team? We measure that level of extroversion people have. Are they happier working with other people, or are they like me, sometimes like to go in the office and close the door and have a bit of peace and quiet?
Right.
We measure patience, which is really about pace. How quickly people like to work. Do they love to be in a role where everything changes every day?
Yeah.
Or are they happy in a role where it's
repetitive,
pretty consistent?
Yeah.
And then we also measure what we call formality, which is that need for rules and structure. And think about it. If you have a job that's very detail orientated, I want my accountant to be really good on rules and structure. I want him to follow the rules and do things properly.
Yeah, there are procedures you have to follow. Yeah.
But some people are naturally suited to do those roles, and they're not. And I'll just give you a really, really good example on how this works. Think about one of the jobs I analysed a few years back for one of the blood banks. This is the lab tech role. This person every day goes in, sits at their desk, checks all the blood samples, and they have to check every blood sample, and everyone has to be correct.
Right.
Now, if you put someone like me into that role, after 10 minutes I'm going to be bored looking out the window. I'll be writing anything down. It wouldn't work. So understanding and measuring those drives that we have and are pretty well established by the time we reach our late teens, we can establish what sort of roles people are suited to do.
Yeah.
And if you then put someone into that role that requires someone who loves doing details, put them into a role that likes details, they flourish.
They can do deeper work. They can be on, in their fast lane, and they can be super engaged.
Yeah, whereas, someone such as myself, I wouldn't be that engaged.
Interesting. What are some maybe easier ways to start for someone who is totally unfamiliar with these types of things? What's usually like a good way, a good first or number one step?
Yeah, I mean, number one step we always think is understand the job.
Yeah.
Because just because you like the guy, you interview this person and you think, wow, what a really nice guy. He likes soccer, I like soccer.
Great person to hang out with. But that's a whole other story if you're trying to do work.
Doesn't necessarily mean he could do the job. Right. So we often say to people, understand what the job involves. Mm-hmm. Really think about it. Is this a job where I require someone who's very comfortable working on their own and is really good with detail?
Yeah.
And then get someone in to do that. Right. Because just because someone's a nice guy doesn't mean he can do every role.
Right. Yeah,
absolutely. Or necessarily wants to do every role. I mean, think about it. Yeah, I probably can do most jobs out there. Will I be any good at most of them? Probably not.
Yeah.
And am I going to be engaged? And if I'm not engaged as an employee, I'm not going to be productive.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a big difference out there, isn't there, from someone who just comes in and does the bare minimum just to get a paycheck, or someone who goes into their job every day and loves it.
Yes, and is fully engaged.
Yeah, and gives 110%.
Mindful and present, yeah.
Yeah, but if you don't understand what the job is. So, yeah, you know, we've got various tools that we can help companies with on that. But I would just advise any employer, any small business out there, you know, look at the job, try and understand what the job does, and if it's detail orientated, bring in someone who's detail orientated. Yeah. If it involves a lot of forward facing, dealing with customers, bring in someone who loves talking to people and who's friendly.
Yeah. Are there other or check marks or things, questions like that come to mind when you're trying to actually figure out what makes a successful candidate in a particular position? Because, I mean, we've talked about details as being one of those things, and then we possibly like their interactions with people. Do they like to interact with people, or do they like to sit back and hide in a corner and then just give them the work and let them do the work? And
really, yeah. I mean, and say, you know, we use a series of tools to actually check that, and we almost measure the personality of the job.
Yeah.
Because once you've worked out what the personality of the job is, you can then put the right kind of person.
Yeah.
Alongside that, but yeah, be very aware of: do I need someone who's naturally going to take the lead if it's a role where I need a leader?
Right.
Do they like working as part of a team or not?
Individual contributor.
Yeah. Is this a job that has lots of variety, or is this a job where they're going to be doing the same thing every day?
I agree. And what are some possible misuses or misunderstandings when it comes to these types of tools?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, there sometimes are misunderstandings. I don't think we get too much misuse, but the misunderstandings is we're trying to pigeonhole people into specific roles. And we don't think we do that. We always make a big point of when you do these assessments, it's only one part of the person. The whole person shows up for the job. Right. Yeah. Because, you know, education and qualification is all important as well. One of the other things we measure is cognitive ability. Right. You know, how quickly someone can understand a role. Yeah. Because, you know, that can be critical in certain roles. So the way often when we're talking to people is, hey, maybe this guy doesn't have the perfect personality for this role, but he has great experience. Well, that's fine. Still hire him, but just be aware details aren't his strong point. Right. So help him with that. Yeah. But if you already know that when you're bringing an employee on board, that, hey, this is a possible blind spot for them, you as a manager or a team leader or an employer can coach them and help them along.
Yeah, you're better informed, and therefore you can help them as well work around, you know, any areas that may stand in their way, and they may not even know it themselves.
No.
You know,
and very often
you help them maybe, you know, identify it and figure it out, so they know to go ask for help when it comes to
it's very much, certainly with the organisations we work, this isn't a red light, green light sort of thing. Right. This is, hey, let's see who we have, who's going to be a good fit, taking in mind everything, and then how can we help them grow into that role. And once again, the manager plays a big part in that. So, you know, we got companies locally who do a really, really good job of this. When each new employee comes on board, the manager already knows how this employee likes to be led, how they like to be managed, how they like to be motivated.
Because it's not right or wrong; it's just matching with the right.
Yeah, we have a big, when you go up to our corporate offices in Boston, there's a big sign, because when you do the predictive index behavioural assessment, you end up with a pattern. Right. And there's a big sign as you walk into our offices that says all patterns are beautiful, which we are. Yeah. We've all got strengths and potential blind spots.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, none of us are perfect, although my wife sometimes thinks she is, but. But you know, we all have some stuff we're really good at, and other stuff that is more of a challenge for us. But if you can understand that, right up front, you know, before you even meet someone, really does help.
Yeah, it's the biggest part of the battle, because once you do and you know how to utilize it, then you're unstoppable.
And that really is what we do. And, you know, we want companies to supercharge their workforce. So, you know, I speak to companies all the time. Why don't you want to unleash the power of your people? Because if everyone's working at 100% in your organisation, you're gonna.
You want all the brain power. You want that, like you know, to be all the way to the maximum, not at the minimum, like an empty fuel tank. You know?
Definitely.
You want to maximize that. Yeah. So Mike, is there anything that you think is important for people to know about our discussion or this whole topic that maybe we haven't brought up?
Yeah, I mean, just be aware. Some people, and I think you touched upon it, you know, look at assessments, or they've had a bad experience of assessments in the past, because there are all sorts of different ones are out.
Yes.
We'll just make the point that most best-in-class companies out there do use some form of assessment. And I always remember having a conversation with a CEO many years ago who said, I don't really believe in assessments.
Right.
And I said, well, do you do interviews?
Yes.
And he said, well, yes. I said, well, what are you doing there?
That's an assessment, yes.
But the research shows that us interviewing people, we're not that good. We get it wrong a lot of the time on that. So if there's a tool out there that is based on science of over 60 years, a huge amount of research, and that you can legally use to hire people and put the right people in the right job, why wouldn't you want to at least take a look at that?
You need every tool that you can get your hands on. And we're not saying like ignore interviews or anything. Just continue to perfect your interviews and get the most out of them, but use them as one of the many tools and in conjunction with, and have other people interview as well.
I mean, that's, we say this is not the only thing. This is another data point that you use.
You need all the help.
Hey, why wouldn't you want to? And as as we said, this war on talent, there's a shortage of good applicants now. And healthcare and IT and many other industries we speak to have vacancies because they can't find great people.
Right.
If you can find someone who's going to fit your company and love working there, why wouldn't you do it? And then further down the line, companies really do use these tools to keep their employees engaged. Think if internally you can put teams together where everyone works well together, where you get to work for a manager who you really enjoy working for. Right. So those companies that do it, and we've got thousands and thousands of clients. Our company, companies run from four-person CPA company down in Sarasota to the three biggest employers in the Tampa Bay area. So this isn't something new. But those companies that do this well really do see a benefit, because if you've got an engaged, enthusiastic workforce,
and it adds up too if you're a bigger company, because like any percentage of inefficiency is multiplied, manyfold, millionfold, or more. So it's even more important. So Mike, I know you in a previous discussion you've offered actually to give away some of these for people, and of course we will publish anything that Mike shares as far as links and things like that. But if you're in one of these situations, you just want to kind of go ahead and do it right now, Mike, would you like to share how people can get a hold of you, how they can get these resources?
Yeah, sure. I mean the easiest way to get hold of me is email, because we all spend our life on email. So it's mike@mvp-results.com. But then I'll also provide you and all your listeners with a link that they can just click on this and take a behavioural assessment for themselves.
Right.
It takes about 6.5 minutes. Really, really simple.
Yes.
On that. But from that, we will then provide you with a whole range of data. We'll help you understand yourself. We'll give you some self-coaching guides. And then we'll give you some guides on how you can be a better manager. So we're always happy to share these tools with all companies out there, because we know once people start to see this stuff, it's like, wow, this is really good. And it opens up conversations for us.
Awesome. And I love it. I love it myself. I did it, and it's very eye-opening, say the least. Mike, it has been a pleasure to have you on this podcast. Thanks for stopping by. Listeners, be on the lookout for this episode to be published and the links available and everything, and then be on the lookout for the next one, and feel free to listen to any previous ones. And the links will always be published on our blog at sbchecks.com, but the episodes will also be available on iTunes and any other podcasting applications. Thank you.